XRP is currently trading at about $2.32, and no, we are not past the significant breakouts that may cause us to become quite excited. Technically speaking, though, the last 7 days surrounding XRP and even cryptocurrency have been quite thrilling to currently trading at about 109K. Thus, a much bigger shift is only in the making. Additionally, XRP has been trading in a really erratic manner while it waits for older coins to finally wake up and pay attention. For XRP, $2.32 is a decent place to start. And if you check at my screen right now, you can see that a sizable quantity of XRP has been traded overall during the last 60 seconds. And well up, it is one of the most important ones to type of watch. As a matter of fact, it is now the top market for XRP due to the Korean market's intense interest in the cryptocurrency. Actually, it's crazy to see this now, because the volume of XRP on the Korean market has reversed Bitcoin. I'll refresh this so we have it now, because I'm not sure if it's completely updated. $2.29 Bitcoin at around 108 points, or nearly 1,000. Hey, pay attention. It's wonderful to see XRP creating the kind of waves it has thus far. Additionally, we could observe that there has been approximately $58 million in open interest in XRP during the past hour on the spot market. According to the heat map, net inflows have totaled almost $46 million. Thus, the majority of that $58 million comes from XRP inflows. We therefore enjoy seeing that. Given that spot inflows account for the majority of that trade volume, it would be wise to give that some serious attention. Beyond that, though, everyone started posting things like this, which really started to shake up the market. Justin, with a 24-hour trading volume of over 132.59 million XRP, is the top cryptocurrency in South Korea, and it goes all the way through it. We may or may not be able to view this. Such that the volume is visible. At the moment, this stands at approximately 127.6 million. Therefore, there isn't much of a difference here. There was a slight decline, although once more, the Korean market for XRP has generally always been booming. When you go back to December of 2024, the South Korean market statistics were well over $1 billion in the previous day. And I believe we may see this for XRP as well. In fact, I believe it might have been a little bit more back then. I'll actually take a brief look back. Thus, we have the candles every month. Thus, at this time, the monthly trade volume was $520 billion, and by December, it had dropped to roughly $330 billion. It is very astounding to consider that we have nearly reached $1 trillion in volume around XRP in only these 2 months. However, since they were weekly candles and there was over $90 billion in weekly trading volume for XRP, we can see how hot some of these candles were. And as I mentioned before, there was a lot of interest in XRP at the time on some of these exchanges, particularly in the South Korean market, where it is well known. You know, they were hitting several $1 billion in trading volume every day. I'm thrilled to note that XRP overall market activity in South Korea isn't slowing down at all. They have a valid cause for not doing so. Indeed, Brad Garlinghouse is scheduled to speak before the Senate Banking Committee today, which is this, for example. This is likely to be an event from which we don't see a lot of price action. Most likely, there won't be many announcements. The most important point, though, is that this is a continuing conversation and a significant, I would say, industry collaboration to ensure that we do achieve some crypto laws in the U.S. that will neither hinder or harm innovation. However, since we already know how large some of these exchanges and some of these projects are getting in the U.S., this will ultimately enable for innovation to flourish and for many expansions around the U.S. market itself, with cryptocurrency to really kind of become a much bigger component of the U.S. system. This will only pick up speed with pro-crypto innovation legislation, in my opinion, especially with stable currencies, which is another important area that needs a lot of attention. Brad Garlinghouse did get back to us regarding Ripple using Roust. He acknowledged that he was honored to be asked to testify before the Senate Banking Committee on Wednesday regarding the necessity of enacting legislation pertaining to the structure of the cryptocurrency market. He did express gratitude to each and every subcommittee head for the digital assets. We have reached this significant point thanks in large part to your leadership throughout this hearing and throughout the years, and supporting the cryptocurrency sector. In order to safeguard consumers and usher in a new era of innovation and financial opportunity, the U.S. must enact legislation pertaining to the constructive structure of the cryptocurrency market. I would love to see it. It goes without saying that these people from the area are distinct from those who are merely in the vicinity of the traditional marketplaces. I've been advocating for this since 2023 and 2024, and even earlier in 2021 and 2022, when I stated that involving industry leaders who have been in the crypto field for a long time is the best approach to genuinely get legislation for the sector. Listen up. Brad Garlinghouse is also not afraid of the conventional world. He actually began in TradFi. Therefore, the fact that we are already beginning to observe cooperation between blockchain and cryptocurrency companies as well as traditional players is exactly what we had hoped for. This is, in my opinion, the greatest way to get to a very solid framework for laws and regulations pertaining to cryptocurrency. That will enable it to flourish completely, as I mentioned. Apart from that, let's actually move on to the ETF discussion, because we've been hearing a lot about ETF for XRP, which is precisely why I believe that XRP is beginning to have a significant impact outside of the major events. This is because, once more, many people are likely to place a lot of weight behind this and simply speculate. However, ETF approval rates are between 90 and 95% for all coins. On June 20th, we did receive this update. XRP is currently at almost 95%, and it includes Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, CoinShares, Bitwise, Canary, 21 shares, and Grayscale. As of right now, many XRP ETF experience delays. Actually, I would adore it if you changed. I'm going to go into more detail regarding some of the ETF approvals that we should be anticipating this month. I'm going to review certain things beforehand, though. First off, there are currently roughly 18 distinct ETF filings for XRP. And we're simply waiting for one of these to do something. We are aware that many futures exchange-traded funds, ETI, were approved, and XRP was one of them in the US. Additionally, we now have a spot XRP ETF that is actively trading in Canada and even Brazil. However, we hope that the US market will truly grow around XRP. We are keeping an eye on all of these ETF for that reason. Of course, I do believe that all of these will align once we receive clearance for a one-spot ETF. Additionally, these players are linked to a significant amount of money. The total assets in management, including those in the millions, amount to billions or perhaps trillions of dollars. But generally speaking, this is a really important topic to concentrate on. However, Nate Garassi did provide us with a significant update. The CC is involved in this. According to Reuters, the CC is developing a comprehensive framework to expedite the clearance process for spot cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds. The SEC is searching for a broad regulation. It could be applied to any listing, and the exchanges are now debating the exact language. And that's actually visible within here. That quote I just read is this one. And in order to address the surge in the number of ETF